How do you choose your speakers? Is there a process?
People think that you can just put anybody on stage and it will draw people.
Right.
And it's not true. Some of the biggest names I mentioned actually don't put people in the rooms. It's wild how this works.
All right, guys, we got Andrew Cordle here, one of the best public speakers in the world right now. Thanks for coming, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Man, you are different on stage. You know how to do it.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique process, that's for sure.
Were you always good at kind of public speaking, or did that take some time?
I don't know, man. Well, obviously it took a lot of time. You know, they always have like 10,000 hours, but I think I've naturally always been kind of good at speaking in general. It's been something that's been natural to me, but to the level of which I got now, I mean, I did 96 weekends in a row, to give you an idea. 96 weekends in a row, 27 hours per weekend on stage.
Damn.
For 96 weekends in a row, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we do 27 hours speaking straight for 3 days in a row. And I did 96 weekends in a row. So just that by itself gives you an insane amount of stage time and understanding the people, what they want, what they're looking for, how to entertain. I always say there's a science to it and there's an art to it.
Right.
Most speakers know the science to it. They don't understand the art of speaking. And there's a giant difference between the two right there.
Yeah. So when you're on stage, do you know what you're going to say beforehand, or you just wing it?
I have it's like a 50-50. That's the science and the art. Like, I know what I'm going to say as far as like delivering the content. Like, here's my content I'm going to deliver. I know I have to hit these points. The art of it is more based off of what is the crowd like? Are they super active? Are they more standoffish crowd? Are they hyper engaged with you, and so forth? And so half of it is like made up on the spot maybe, and then the other half of it is like, no, I know I'm going to hit these points. I have to hit these points to make the presentation say work, if you will.
Right.
The other half of it is like on the spot, coming and saying stuff is playing off the crowd, if you will.
Yeah, I love that. Now, Aspire Tour has got to be one of the biggest business conferences in the world at this point, right?
I think it is, man. I think I don't know anybody that's bigger than us right now. I mean, obviously Cardone, which I love and respect for what he's got going on with 10X Growth Con coming up right around the corner. Obviously, his event hosts a giant event, but it's like it's a 3-day event, and it's once a year. Ours are a 1-day event, and it's every single month. And we're about to launch. This is kind of new, and a lot of people don't know this yet. We're about to launch what we call Aspire Local. So right now, there's only certain cities we can go to where we can get 3,000 to 5,000 people, entrepreneurs, to kind of come to it. Right, all your big cities: Dallas, Las Vegas, Phoenix, LA, etc. But there's a lot of smaller cities that we can't go to because we can't get 3,000 to 5,000 people. So we're about to launch Aspire, what we call Aspire Local, which would be like under 1,000 people there. Smaller type of atmosphere that we got going on, but it allows us to go to San Antonio, like Austin, Charlotte, Raleigh, Durham, those types of cities, and hit a type of an event like that. So yeah, I mean, by the time you add those all into it, like I don't know anybody who's even really competing with this, to be honest with you.
Dude, I know. I saw one interview, $72 million a year. I don't know if that's still accurate, but
yeah. Well, that's just off that one. That's just off the one deal we did with Dan right there. Our last evaluation of the total collective influence company, which is like the parent company, and that's right at like $500 million right now.
Holy
for it. 72 million is like the Aspire piece of the company. But right now the overall company is right at 500 million.
Would you say timing played a big role in the success? Because we had right. So were you guys operating during that?
No. So yeah, in business, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, and I think it's a piece that people don't pay enough attention to. And I think if people got into it with me, I would tell you it's one of the biggest keys to success is understanding the market and timing. You can take an idea that's a really, really good idea and push this rock up the hill, if you will. And you can get to the top of the hill with it, but it's a lot of hard work. Or you can understand the market and the opportunity, which is timing, right? And you still have to have all your ducks in a row behind the scenes and all the work ethic and the drive, the ideas, and you have to have all those things still moving and happening, but you're waiting for the right market to hit. And when it hit, I saw, because I came from the event business, right? And so when it hit, we went through like, I don't know, it was like 2 years or something of like no events, which had never happened before since all event business had ever started. And so once that hit, I knew there was going to be a gap there, and I knew most of those companies, I knew them. I knew the owners of most of those companies, and I knew most of them were not going to come back.
Right.
They were all going to hang it up, like, that's it, I'm done. Like, I can't reboot the whole machine again. And so I knew that between the data I had on the market plus that gap of 2 years with no events happening, I knew it was going to be this like prime opportunity. We talk about timing instead of a business. It's extremely important. And I think a lot of people
Are you tired of ordering on a menu in a different country only to be served snails? Why not actually speak the language and order what you want? That's where Babbel comes in. Speak like a whole new you with Babbel, the science-backed language learning app that gets you talking. Wasting hundreds of dollars on private tutors is the old school way of learning a new language. Babbel's 10-minute lessons are quick and handcrafted by over 200 language experts, ready to get you talking your way to a new language in just 3 weeks. Because talking is the key to really knowing any language. Babbel's advanced speech recognition is like having a personal language guru in your pocket, massaging your pronunciation whenever you open your mouth. With Babbel, you can learn everything you need from vocabulary to culture while holding your own in conversation with anybody. All it takes is just about 10 minutes a day. It's designed by real people for having real conversations, and it gets you talking. I've been going to a lot of Spanish-speaking countries over the last few months, and Babbel has come in clutch. I now know how to order food and ask where the restroom is when I travel. Here's a special limited time deal for our listeners. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/social hour. That's 60% off at babbel.com/social hour, spelled BABBEL.com/social hour. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Misplay or do not spend enough time looking at where the market is and how to strike at the right time with their idea.
Right.
Versus just, here's a great idea, I'm going to shove this thing, push this thing all the way up the hill, if you will, versus here's a great idea and here's the perfect timing for it. When those two things hit, outcome is Aspire, right? We just ended our first year of business with Aspire, and it's at $72 million a year, and it's a wild machine. I don't think we've even really scratched the surface of what we can do with it yet.
Wow. And that's the first year, 72 mil. That
it's the
crazy.
first year of it.
And all self-funded, right?
Yeah, all self-funded with me and my partners. And so there's some crazy stuff that people that are reaching out that are trying to get in on it right now with us.
Right.
Like wild partners trying to buy into Aspire because they see it.
Wow.
Yeah. Like you wouldn't believe who's trying to. I can't say because the deal's not done yet. You would not freaking believe who I've had calls with, meetings with, that are trying to buy into and take a piece of ownership of Aspire because they see what it can do and what it can run with. So it's pretty wild right now.
Did you see it taking off this quick? Because 72 first year is unheard of.
No. I mean, I wish I could. I wish I could sit here and say like, this was my idea that I knew was going to hit this amount of money this fast. No, I did not. I knew that it was the right timing. Again, I come from this industry, so I knew the pieces that were there. But there was a lot of things I did not know. There's a lot of things I just didn't. I thought certain things were going to hit, and certain things did hit. But things that I did not think of hit, and the things that I thought would hit bigger. You know what I mean? And so there's been one thing that hasn't hit, which has been unique, and I'm getting ready to adjust it and make a big change on it. But I would say everything is hit except for one thing right now, and I'm trying to tweak it and adjust it. But I did not. I wish I could sit here and take the credit for it and be like, yeah, dude, it was my genius idea of like, I knew it was going to be this big. I did not know it was going to be this big.
Right.
I knew it was going to be big, but not as big as it is now, and where it's headed is crazy.
I feel like most conferences aren't even profitable.
Yeah, most conferences are not. Yeah, 100%.
So you learned all that being in the industry before, and you took what you learned and just made this.
Yes, but you also remember, go back to timing for a second. The market is always changing, and business is always changing, right? And so forever in business, there was this thing that everybody was doing, and they still do to this day. And I'm not even saying it's wrong, but I'm saying you got to pay attention to the market and pay attention to what's actually happening with people, because that changes. And if you don't stay in front of it, you'll always be left behind. So funnels came out years and years ago, right?
Yeah.
We all know what they are, how funnels work. And you put a top of the funnel, you get clients inside of it, and then you push them down the funnel, and then you, in theory, you're going to sell them different things, right? It's a very common process. It's not bad. There's nothing wrong with it. It's worked for forever. It's worked. It's still working. We use types of funnels. However, a big shift that I made just watching people and being from this industry was I went all community versus funnel. So before I launched this, and I had this idea, I went to my partner Eddie, and I was like, dude, I want to go do this. Here's how I want to do it. I think the market is shifting. I think people know what funnels are. They know when you email them and say subscribe to this. They know what they're going to get after this. They're going to get you say subscribe to your newsletter. They know what you're going to get. You're going to start selling them different things right after that, right? People know what's happening now. That's why people have like fake email accounts. You know what I mean? It's like literally, I have a fake email account. And I'm like, oh, here you go. Here's my fake email. Don't even check it, right? Because people know what's happening. And so for me, I said, dude, I want to build community versus funnel. And so for ours, it's more like we look at more like a circle. And so what we did was Aspire being, say, top of the funnel for us. And then we drive those that want to come with us on our journey. We put inside of what we call a community. And the community just means I built a custom app before I launched Aspire.
Oh, wow.
I'm probably $1 million in this app so far.
Damn.
Because I knew the importance of the app is where my community is going to live. And so everything that happens inside of my community is inside of this app. You got to be a paying member to get inside of it. To be honest, it's $15,000 a year. And then you get access to this.
Right. That's the mastermind. The money is mastermind.
Yeah. And you get access to the app. And so all of our community, say, lives inside of it. So once we had the community kind of a circle, I could have sold that group of people so much stuff. Right. I could have sat there and sold and sold and sold, because when you have a buyer that's $15,000 that you've already won their trust over with, you could capitalize. They call it buyers or buyers. And I could have sat there and sold millions and millions of dollars worth of products to those people. However, when you do that, every time you do that, you lose a little bit of trust in those clients. Every time you sell them another thing, another gadget, you begin to lose trust in them. Right. Especially when you just do a affiliate deal over and over and over, and they know it. So instead what we did was we took the community and then we said, and we took a ton of surveys and we said, what does this community want? Like, what do they need, right? They're entrepreneurs, and we just sat there and asked them, and what do you need? What are you looking for? Listening to what they were asking us with questions on the app. And then when we would find something that they needed, we would go set up like an affiliate with a person that we trusted and then test it. We weren't even necessarily getting paid on it most of the times. It was just like, hey, let's provide this service. Our community needs this service. Let's just bring them in and provide a great service for our community. Right. We would do a couple of those and watch which ones the community really, really wanted. Whichever ones they really, really wanted, we would either go acquire that company, a company like it, or we'd start our own company. Wow. So what happened was the community told us what they wanted. Based off of that, we would acquire companies that would service our customers the way that our customers wanted to be serviced, if you will, without us having to go build out and chase down a new product, a new gadget or a gadget. We only provide services for what our clients want, based off of unlimited data that we get and acquire from our customers. Interesting. So it's a little bit different from a funnel method where you're just kind of like dropping in all these different products and gadgets. We don't drop in products and gadgets. We only drop in services, and only services that they want, only after we test it to verify, not I think you want this, but no, I know the community wants it because the community is buying and paying for it over here. Right. Okay, let's acquire this company, and then we'll own that company. Wow, so you're out here playing the long game. I love it. It's a long game, bro. Yeah, so you got plans to expand to other countries eventually? Yeah, we have other ideas. Like you said, we have Aspire Local coming out. We have another model we're kind of working on that we just met with a couple partners that launch like another style of Aspire, if you will, that we may be launching here third quarter. And then international will be on our radar right around the corner. My guess is international will probably hit till end of 2025. Some of the people that are trying to buy into Aspire, the main thing they want is international. Like, take it international. So if that were to happen and we were to get it, not acquired, but an outside investor, a partner came in that wanted to own it and had a certain path to international, it could go faster. Right. My guess is it'd be into 2025, 2026 before we take it international. Again, because we're going the long game. If it was a quick blow up to make as much as you can and walk away, yeah, we would expand on all kinds of fronts. But for us, it's a long and steady approach into what we have going on versus let's go expand at a hyper rate without being able to control what we're actually doing, but we can make a ton of cash in the meantime. We're playing a long game with the whole process. And you've kept the team pretty lean from what I've noticed too. I don't know. I mean, you saw me pull up. You saw me pull up, bro. I have like 6 people with me today. Yeah. I'm trying to fire 2 of them right now. They know who they are. They're listening to me right now. No, but the thing is, part of what attracts, say, other clients to us is we have the infrastructure. So a lot of brands are coming to us right now, and this was part of my play. There's a lot of, in the new market, if you watch the new industry that's going on in the marketplace, there's a lot of influencers out there. Yeah. And they have a lot of following. They have a lot of followership behind them, but they don't necessarily know how to monetize what they actually have. Right. They have a cool voice, and that voice fits in certain niches, and they're dabbling with certain things, making money. I'm not saying they're not making money, but they don't know how to truly monetize what they have. And so I knew that when I built a machine that could in-house, like all the media that you saw at Aspire that you just went to in LA, all those screens, all the AV, all the semi trucks, those are all ours. We don't sub any of that out. We vertically own every last piece of that machine.
Damn.
And so when a big celebrity or something that wants to do a deal with us sees everything, it's like, holy you guys have not only you know how to run an event, but you know how to build it, create it, own it, vertically integrate it with all the pieces. All I have to do is take my brand and can plug it into the infrastructure that you guys already have. We get more deals thrown at us like you would not believe of celebrities and influencers wanting to meet with us to do deals. We haven't done many of them. We're just now starting to crack into some of them. And it's because we have the infrastructure.
Right.
We have 120 some odd employees right now.
Holy crap.
On the way over here, I just was told we hired another person for the social media side. I didn't even know we were doing it. So maybe it's 121 now. But it's because we have the infrastructure, it's the honey, right? And it's attracting a lot of celebrities and influencers to that are like, okay, I don't want to hire, even if they could afford it, I don't want to hire and manage 120 employees.
Right.
But I have this voice and I have a following and I want to monetize my following more than when I'm monetizing them. How can I work with you guys to help me monetize that? That's what we get a lot of.
Yeah, and that probably helps a ton because some of these speakers charge a ton, but if you can offer them something like that on the back end, they'll lower their price or whatever.
Yeah.
Some even speak for free.
Some will go for free.
Right.
As we get into it, yeah.
Yeah, because some of these guys you're having on, I mean, you've had on Mike Tyson, Bob Iger, Goggins, Cuban. Those are
Mark
top
Cuban,
names.
Kevin Hart, O'Leary, Marcus Lemonis, Gary Vee. Barbara Corcoran. We just booked Martha Stewart.
Wow, legend.
For New York, because our next event is not our next event. I'm sorry, but the big event is coming up is in Madison Square Garden. So we got Madison Square Garden coming up in July.
Damn, how many does that fit?
I don't know. We're gonna pack that one out though, dude. That's gonna be a big. See, for that one, I know some of the speakers. I know Martha Stewart's coming to that one. Alex Rodriguez, David Ortiz. I'm gonna have Yankees and Boston Red Sox.
You might get some booze in there.
Yeah, so David Ortiz will be there. I forget who else is speaking. There's some other big names coming into that one. I think Lemonis is back at that one. And I know that right now they're working on trying to get. We've been in contact for a while. This is not under contract, but I'm gonna put out in the energy of the world. So
manifest
it manifested because we had them booked at one, and then something fell through. We couldn't do it. So now I'm trying to get him back again for another one, but we're trying to get Snoop Dogg.
Ooh,
so it'd be
cool.
like Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg together.
Legendary.
It'd be a cool one for Madison Square Garden coming up.
That's sick.
Yeah.
How do you choose your speakers? Is there a process?
Yeah, there's for sure a process. Because what's crazy is this is so unique because people think that you could just put anybody on stage and it will draw people.
Right.
And it's not true. Some of the biggest names I mentioned, I won't tell you who, but some of the biggest names I mentioned actually don't put people in the rooms. It's wild how this works. So you got to be very careful here. So number one, in this space, you got to understand the difference between what I call bodies and buyers. So sometimes you can go, I have some buddies of mine who will throw big events, and they'll throw bigger events than I will. They'll have 10,000 people there.
Yeah.
But they're bodies, they're not buyers. That makes sense?
Yeah.
And so when you attract this is why events, earlier when you said the statement, you said events normally don't make money. That's correct. And most of the time it's because they don't understand their marketing, they don't understand their demographic, they don't understand how to monetize. Therefore, what they're actually doing is they think if I just put a bunch of people in this room, I can the more people in the room equals more money, and that is absolutely not true whatsoever at all. I have a buddy of mine that just did like an event recently that did like 10,000 people at it. Paid tickets, mine are paid tickets, his are paid tickets. Had like 10,000 people at it, and they made like one of their presentations, and they sold six people total,
right.
6 people. Were you there when I made my presentation?
Yes.
Were you there during the close when I said come to the front if you want to sign up?
Freaking out.
Dude, people, if you watch them, they literally get up and sprint. Like they will run. If you're at the tables on our side, I'm not shitting you. We have camera footage of people like throwing credit cards, like ninja stars at our staff.
Love it.
Inside of it. And that's mainly, it's not because we're great or something. It's because we understand the actual model that's there. We understand the data that's there. My partner Eddie will tell you we're a data company or a data company. I can tell you right now that at this last event in LA, based off of how many people, before the event happened, I could tell you, based on the amount of people that were in that room, how many were going to join the next class that we had.
Yeah.
Out of those people that join, I could tell you what percent of those people are going to actually show up to it. Out of those amount of people that actually show up to the next class, I could tell you what percentage of those are going to buy.
Wow.
And I could always break it down to you and tell you that Matter of fact, I'll play a game with you here. Let's see. It'd be we measured off what's called DPH.
Okay.
And if you hit me back later, I'll tell you how close we are on this. If you want to run there'd be a cool clip you could hit.
Yeah, let's do it.
So let's see. Right now we have 415 people bought. So that'd be I need to calculate. It'd be 70%. 70% of 415.
70% of 415.
70% of 415.
So 0.7 times 415 is 290. 0.5.
Okay. So let's call it 300. So 300 times, let's do 300 times $4,800.
$4,800. $1,440,000.
All right. Keep that number right there.
Okay.
April 5th, 6th, and 7th, I have the event. When I'm done with that event, like, see how close I am to that data right there.
Okay.
Like, I could tell you before the event happened, that was going to be the phase 1 of our outcome. That was going to be the data right there.
Wow.
But I knew it before the event happened.
Interesting. So it's all a numbers game.
Yeah, it's data. Like, we run inside of, like, people look at it as an event business. I would tell you it's an events business. My partner, Eddie, which you've met, Eddie Wilson, he would tell you we're a data business. It's part of the reason why we're very successful is he runs everything off of data and numbers, and I'm running it off of customer experience and the brand.
Right.
You put those two things together, and I focus on mine, he focuses on his, but I can tell you the numbers based off of that's the numbers that we'll hit, and I put money on we're going to be very, very close to that number.
Wow. And that's each event, and you have 12 a year, so that's big numbers.
Yeah, but that was a small event.
Right.
LA was.
Oh,
right?
LA?
Yeah, that was a small
There was
event.
like, what, 2,000 there?
About 2,200
Okay.
in that room.
That's considered small for you?
Yeah. Like, we're going to Denver in like 9 days. We're going to Denver, and we sold that arena out.
Wow.
The month before, we were in Dallas. We sold that arena out.
Yeah.
So that one was a little bit smaller for us, the 2,200. We're getting now closer to like the 4 to 5,000 range as we'll hit. And then we'll hit Madison Square Garden, which would be another big, big one. But yeah, we're hitting like 4 to 5,000 right now. So Denver would be close to we'll sell that one out. I think it sells out close to 4, and we'll have to turn off the marketing.
Damn.
You know how most people say like the event's sold out?
Yeah.
Like, they're not. It's normally not actually sold out.
Yeah.
No,
Marketing.
like straight up sold out. Like there's no more tickets for sale. We even oversell a little bit because we know the show rate. In Denver, there's no more tickets.
Damn.
It'd be game over. You can't buy a ticket. I couldn't get you in if I wanted to get you in. You know what I mean?
It's impressive how you fill up every city. Like you must have a good
pretty
marketing team running ads.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it.
It's the moving target you're always trying to hit is the marketing side because you would think like once you get it in, it just like it hits and it stays, but it doesn't, you know. And that's what goes back to the question about the brand side you were asking me a while ago about like some of these celebrities as they come in. It's like some celebrities will put a lot of people in the room. Some celebrities would put bodies but not buyers.
Right.
Some celebrities will put the right person in the room, but they're not. They won't join later. They'll join up front, but they won't convert down the road because of their mindset. Like I could break into it, but I don't want to put any celebrity under the heat. But I could tell you like which. I think all those celebrities there. I can tell you because we track every single one of them, how many tickets each one of them sells off of our marketing.
Wow!
So if we're running an ad with Kevin Hart, right, and say at this event there's gonna be Kevin Hart, Marcus Lemonis, David Goggins, and Barbara Corcoran. I can tell you throughout all the marketing, but all at the end of it, I can tell you out of those that we just ran, which one of those people sold the most amount of ticket via our marketing. Therefore, I can tell you that this person is putting more people in the room versus this celebrity over here. So if this celebrity is going to charge me $250,000, but they're only going to put in 18% of the people in the room, this celebrity is going to charge me $100,000, and they're putting in 63% of the people in the room. My ROI right now is going to be way better with this person over here, even though this person might be more, the 250 person might be more famous, more popular, and it has more followers. It's kind of irrelevant because data will tell you which one people are going to spend money on versus they follow you, but they don't want to spend money on what you say. There's a difference there at influencers.
Yeah, they're more of a fanboy.
Yeah, they're a fan. They like what you say. It's cool. But just because you're going to go somewhere and you say, I'm going to be here, pay $500 to come to this event or $300 to come to this event does not mean your fanboys will actually pay that. Right. So you can sit here and tell me, people all the time, I just had someone hit me up 2 days ago. It's like, I have 10 million followers, and I'll put them in. I'm like, all right, watch, I'll show you, and then we'll run it. They literally will sell like 2 freaking tickets, but they'll tell me how many followers they have, right? And it's like, and again, I'm not saying they're even wrong. They'd be able to monetize their followership somewhere else in a different way, in a different vein. It's just not. This is a very, very unique vein, right? That you have to have a certain type of demographic that follows. So it's not always just the big names that put people in the rooms.
Followers are a terrible metric to judge people.
Yeah,
to be
it
honest.
really is. But all influencers lead off of that.
It doesn't make sense to me. When I look at podcast guys, I don't give.
Yeah, all influencers, they come and hit us up. They're like, I have 10 million. If you take, and then they'll always add up all their followers from all the different platforms. You know
TikTok,
what I mean? Yeah,
Twitter.
they're like, across the board, I've got 9.8 million followers, and it's like, dude, that again, I'm not saying that's not good or that they can't monetize that. I'm just saying that does not always convert to what we're trying to monetize on our side.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100%.
It's just a different demographic of person, if you will.
Do you have a favorite interview you've done?
That's tough, man. You know, I have all the celebrity interviews that I've done, and then past that, I did probably about 300 just high-level CEO interviews in my career when I was doing all the podcasting. You know, celebrity-wise, as far as people that I interviewed that I would like celebrity-wise, I enjoyed interviewing. I would always tell you Mike Tyson still comes up at the very, very top because you never know what's going to happen in that interview. Like it's one of those interviews that I don't ever get nervous. Like I just interviewed, you were there, I interviewed Harvey Specter from Suits. I don't even have cue cards. Like I don't have questions. I don't have pre-written. I don't even really research the person that much.
Oh, you didn't know him?
I mean, I saw the show, Suits. I liked him.
That's why you had him on?
But I don't like go and do this like deep dive research to know this person and understand him. And the reason is, if you watch the interview on stage with him, it's not because I don't respect him. It's because I like having a more just genuine, authentic conversation about whatever that person kind of really wants to talk about. And then how does that message that they're trying to talk about, how do I get that to benefit and help my viewers?
Right.
So, you know, when you're there, you do a ton of interviews, you're kind of listening to the interview from 2 perspectives. What is this person saying? And what will my viewers care about, like, as they're listening? Like, how is this going to help my viewers, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, I just don't do a lot of, like, cue cards, notes, before questions. I just kind of get out and have a conversation and let it be what it is and then kind of follow their direction and then try to add in value to where my customers or you viewers, listeners, can learn off of what they're saying and what makes sense to them inside of it. So it's unique, man. But I say Tyson is the one that's just like, so I was saying that because I don't really get like starstruck or famed. Like I don't really care. But Tyson was the one that was just like, I was nervous, man.
I would be too.
Because that dude is wild. And in the interview, if you watch it, he is wild.
Yeah. Did he take some mushrooms right before?
Dude, it's a crazy story. I picked him up in Vegas. I was doing the interview in Vegas at an event I was holding. And his flight got delayed, and he won't fly a private jet. He's very nervous of private jets. Because we tried to send a jet out. He's like, no, I'm not going to take a jet. And so finally he comes over. And it's so funny because he flies on Southwest. Like that's who he wants to fly with, Southwest. Yeah.
Wow.
And so... which would be so wild, like getting on an airplane, you know, you're staying in the lines at Southwest, like 1 through 30 or whatever it is, A 1 through 30, and then here's Tyson at, B12, whatever
That's like the cheapest airline.
Yeah. And so so he landed, we were running late, and so, or he was running late, and so I went and picked up from the airport. As soon as when his manager called me and said, hey, bring a lighter when you get there, and so I brought a lighter. And we get in the car, SUV, and as soon as we get in the car, he starts smoking immediately. I mean, it didn't even been 7 seconds. He even said hello to me, man.
Damn.
He was very, very quiet at first, and then smoked the entire car ride over. And then we got there, and he wanted some food, and we had a bunch of food for him. The dude probably ate, I'm not you, 5 pounds of blueberries, man. He was just eating handfuls of blueberries, and then hit some shrooms, and then did the interview, and it was. It was as insane as it sounds, like wild interview, man.
That is legendary.
But, yeah, it was probably the coolest one that I did, I think so.
What
a funny one that I did was Gary Vee. It was the first interview I ever did was Gary Vee.
First one ever?
First interview on my podcast ever.
Wow.
Was Gary Vee. So when I started my podcast, uniquely, I was looking for a brand purpose, right? And so I went in interviewed a bunch of podcasters, kind of like yourself, and it was like, hey, so what are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish with a podcast? Like, what's your goals here? And a lot of them would say like, you know, I would love to interview so-and-so in my industry, whoever that like famous person was that sometimes they have. It's like, man, I would love to one day interview this person. I'd love to interview this person one day. And they all kind of had this theme back then. And this was several years ago. And I sat back with my team. We got done like kind of interviewing all these people. And I was like, dude, it seems like everybody wants to interview this famous person that's in their genre. Like that was kind of the theme. I was like, okay, so what if we just flipped it upside down? Instead of starting, because I then asked them, like, how many interviews have you done so far? And they'd be like, I did 79 interviews. I'm like, well, have you interviewed the famous person yet that you want to interview? Like, no, I haven't yet. Do you know him? I'm like, no, I don't know him. I'm just asking you, have you done it, you know? And so I was like, dude, let's just flip it upside down. Let's go do the podcast. Let's start at the very, very top. And like, who are the top 3 people in our industry that we would love to interview one day? And we came with 3 names, Gary Vaynerchuk, Kevin O'Leary, and Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
In that order. And sure, I was like, all right, let's go start with those 3. Those are my first 3 interviews I've ever done on my podcast. It was Gary V in his office in New York City, Kevin O'Leary, and Grant Cardone at his office.
Wow.
And from then on, the cool part about it was I made a little highlight reel of like those 3 interviews, you know, 60-second clip. And I have never, ever needed to find someone to be on my show. When I was running my show, I don't do it anymore, but you know, I did 300 like high-level CEOs. They all had to fly in, which you know is very difficult for people to do. It's different. Like, go jump on a Zoom call. Yeah. When you're like, no, fly in, it's different, you know? And dude, I had like 300 high-level celebrities, athletes, CEOs, all flying into my office that they paid for.
Damn, where's your office?
At that time I was doing that show was in Utah.
That's way harder than Vegas.
Way hard, bro. Like, there's nothing there to do. Like, what are you gonna go do? Like, you go to Provo, you go to the Temple while you're here.
Join the Mormon culture.
Yeah, but here, at least when you're in Vegas, it's like that's why I brought my team out. Like, we could go do stuff. We went to a show last night. We got dinner plans tonight. We got another show. You go to Utah, there's like nothing to do, right? But they all came to it, and it was because I created that like kind of sizzle reel. You know what I mean? That was there for it when I launched the podcast. But yeah, it was wild.
Dude, it's been fun. Anything you want to promote or close off with?
Not really promote, man. If I say anything to entrepreneurs, if your entrepreneurs are listening, I would just tell you, the biggest thing is like the whole reason we started Aspire was that I wanted to create aspiration. I wanted to inspire other entrepreneurs to pursue their dreams. It's like what you have right here. Like, you got one of the craziest podcasts out there. My guys were looking at it like they went to your YouTube channel. It was like hundreds and hundreds of clips. Yeah. But it's that whole thing of like having the dream, and then pursuing that dream with everything that you have and watching it take place. It's not easy. It's not always fun. It's not always happens just because it can happen. Like, you got to put the work, the time, and effort into it. But the whole reason Aspire was started because I wanted to aspire entrepreneurs. Like, you can go and achieve your dreams. You can accomplish what you want to accomplish. You got to create the vision first and then back that thing out and go create it. So that's the message I leave you, man. Like, love it. Create your dream and go do it.
Hell yeah. We'll link the events below, guys. Definitely check them out. Best events I've ever been to. Met some great podcast guests at them. Thanks for coming on, man. Means a lot. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.